Hello peeps, beep 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 beep. Welcome to the Court of the EDI Jester. I've been sent some rather wonderful news from America, which arrived today. So I thought I'd have a look at it and get back to you. So I've had a look at it. I'm going to get back to you. Here we are. Right, I'm getting back to you on this now. I want, just before I begin, there's we sometimes forget, you know, in all this milieu, especially if you're me, right? I'm not a man of faith. Okay, I'm not. But yeah, I spend some time as a warrior teacher, right? With some people of faith. I've spoken with people who are far more driven by their faith than I am, especially some Americans, for example. We've had great conversations. I've appeared at conferences about with people of faith, but I wouldn't call myself a person of faith. But I actually do agree with Jordan Peterson. It's probably a good idea to act as if God is there, because hidden in religious texts are metaphors and similes that are just the most glorious way of understanding the human condition, and it took thousands of years to put them there. I said before, the humanities civilize us, STEM tends to civilize the world. So I think it's important that we need to remember sometimes that not everybody that's in this fight is the same, okay? So you have to think about what would it mean, for example, to have gender identity and queer theory leak into or take over a school that was perhaps for Orthodox Jewish people or Muslims, or in this case Catholics or Christians, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. But what is the results of that allowing itself to get hold, and what will the responses of the parents be? It seems strange to me that the church has given this full force lately, and then it doesn't seem strange at all, because it means then they can, you know, marry people if they've got a GRC and pretend that it's still men and women. They're just trying to trick God, aren't they? And it doesn't really seem to be anything about their personal understanding of what the faith is, because they still won't marry gay people, and they embrace something in which gay people can be converted, which is essentially what it is, gay conversion therapy, right? That's what trans is. Trans in the gay way, in most cases. Isn't it? We know that, you know that, I know it, you know. So I was really pleased to receive this, and I think it's important to highlight good news when I see it, but it is not necessarily good news for everybody. But if you want your child raised in a particular way, you might pick a school that would help you to do so, and that school might have rules that children don't like. When I was younger, there were lots of rules that I didn't like, and I'm sure many of you will remember that. Uniforms, uniform codes, dress codes, what you could wear, what you couldn't wear, what you could have up your nose, what you couldn't have up your nose, all the stuff that came with being in a school that was fairly strict, and mine was a state school. So let's look at what this school's saying about the subject du jour, which of course is transgenderism. At the heart of a Catholic education, a unique educational charism is integral formation of the whole human person. Now the individual must be developed as a whole within Catholic education. You're looking at the development of the whole individual, a holistic approach, if you will. The Church instructs us, since true education must strive for complete formation of the human person that looks to his or her final end, as well as to the common good of societies, children and youth are to be nurtured in such a way that they are able to develop their physical, moral, and intellectual talents harmoniously, acquire a more perfect sense of responsibility and right use of freedom, and are formed to participate actively in social life. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful opening paragraph. I'm not, as I've already said to you, a man of faith, but goodness me, the guidance in there about how we should be raising people and how we should be as human beings is crystal clear to me. Crystal clear. So whether you're a person of faith or not, what is echoed philosophically through these words strikes me as the very thing that we should be doing with education, and in some cases already are. Because a child's formation includes the integrity of body, spirit, and moral development, Catholic schools have a proper concern for each student's behaviour and development in the complex area of human sexuality. The Catholic Church strongly holds that human bodies are gifts from God and temples of the Holy Spirit. All men and women are called to a life of chastity appropriate to their vocation as single, married, or consecrated religious. The Church defines chastity as the successful integration of sexuality within the person, and thus the inner unity of man in his bodily and spiritual being. Any student who participates in any level of Catholic education is expected to strive to live a life of virtue, guided by the teachings of the Catholic Church, in accord with God's plan for us all in aspects of their lives as they prepare to receive the sacraments. Diocesan pastoral and policy practices are written in fidelity to the moral guidance and teachings of the Catholic Church in all areas that touch on human life and dignity. Here, this particular statement that we're seeing is the setting out of the stall. If I was a parent, I might go, yeah, not for my kid. Right? But there are many parents who will go, okay, that's what I'm looking for. Because they are people of faith. We're not all like me or like you, right? We're not all atheists, we're all different. So this particularly highlights what would be part of that thought process of how a school should be behaving in regards to people of faith and some of the topics, particularly transgenderism, which is the topic that's being talked about today. Right, so it then continues. All school administrators, faculty, staff, counsellors, and volunteers will, as ministers of the Church, pastorally and appropriately represent the teachings of the Catholic Church in conformity with the Catechism of the Catholic Church and the Code of Canon Law, as interpreted by the Our School has identified where reasonable accommodations can or should be made, as well as where it can, for non-conforming persons. That's talking there about identity, the idea of a trans identity. The school will assist in providing spiritual counselling and referrals to supported professional counselling that is in conformity with Catholic anthropology and church teaching to those who exhibit such behaviour. The school may accept a new name only if the individual's name is legally changed. However, the school will not refer to said individual by any pronouns that does not conform with his or her biological sex. And that, ladies and germs, is how you do it. Right? No nonsense, no messing. Here's where we stand. Here's what we're not doing. The school will not allow children to wear uniforms that do not conform to their biological sex, nor can one's personal appearance reflect the opposite sex. Boys are not permitted to wear makeup, earrings or nail polish, and boys' fingernails may be no longer than 1/4 inch from the end of the fingers. Regarding events where students do not wear a uniform, field trips, school dances, dress down days, there will be attire guidelines that everybody will have to apply to. So, for example, all races, cultures and ethnicities, while our school prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, colour, national origin, sex, age, disability or status as a veteran or disabled veteran, we reserve the right and protections granted in the areas of admissions and employment practices by applicable laws and constitutional provisions to act in furtherance of its religious objectives, right? So what we're seeing here is a religious school. Really setting its stall out, and I don't think there's anything there that anybody should be able to take umbrage with at all. You know, they just shouldn't. And it's a sad day when people are able to, because it's just, I look at it now and I think, okay, if that's the kind of education that you want for your child, then go for it. That's what I would say. Go for it. Okay? People are different. Different horses for different courses. I don't agree with all that. Why would I? Right? Why would I? Why would I? I just wouldn't. But it's worth noting, okay, that this is a religious school doing what religious school does. Now, people will start screaming now. It's the Catholics. You know, or they'll say, oh, there they are, enforcing gender stereotypes. No, they're not. What they're doing is they're making sure children don't end up confused because they've been attached to, with, influenced by, told, or indoctrinated by an adult, which is how this stuff happens. Gender identity doesn't exist. All we have is a personality. What this school does is develop your character. That's what it does. Now, go away, you lot, and write me a secular one. Interesting, isn't it? See you later.